Okay, we're here in my basement, and my project was to learn how to drywall, which I have done, but there were a lot of obstacles along the way. So, as I wrote about before, there were some electrical issues which we've finally gotten taken care of. I was not able to handle those on my own. I got some help from my boyfriend, so he and my son, actually, who's 6 years old, uh, who learned a lot along the way as well. I spent a lot of time on help forums and watching YouTube videos trying to figure out how to do this. And I think a lot of it was like up here in my head. I made this way more complicated than it needed to be because once I got started, it was actually pretty simple, which my boyfriend kept telling me, but I kept thinking, well, it's simple for you. And yes, there are some complications, but um, it's actually not that bad. So I'm pretty proud of the work that I've done in the end, and I was feeling really good because yesterday I finally got to the part where I was actually drywalling. We did a lot of the electrical stuff and prep before, and as I said, I spent way too much time in help forums and watching YouTube videos, but now I'm actually able to do the work, so this is pretty exciting. Okay, this may be a little difficult to show you because um, I don't want to turn the drill on. So I'm just going to show you what I was able to do yesterday, and I'm going to continue today, but to actually show you me working on it is a little bit tricky. So especially because I'm trying to figure out how this camera works. So this is the piece of drywall that I put up yesterday, and I'll show you the part that was the trickiest. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get this down here. Okay, so here is an outlet that didn't used to exist. It now does, obviously, and I'm very excited about that because we're going to have some power in here. This is going to be an area for my kids to hang out, and maybe even they could use this for doing homework, so I wanted to have some light in here. So you can tell from looking at this that I had to cut the drywall, but you have to do it before you put the drywall up. So that was probably the trickiest part, other than actually trying to get the screws and the studs, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was extremely proud of how this worked out because my measurements worked out just about right. And as you can tell, I made a little bit too big of a space right here. And maybe that'll work out fine when I end up putting the cover on. That's the thing I'm most worried about. But when I measured and cut and put this piece of drywall up, it actually fit pretty much perfectly over this outlet, which was a huge accomplishment for me. So obviously, these YouTube videos were very helpful in just sort of giving me a sense of how to approach the problem. You know, you do have to leave a little space. If I can show you, you have to leave a little space under here, right? Because of moisture. You don't want moisture to get in the drywall. So that changes your measurements, and you really have to be keeping all that in mind when you're measuring everything out. So that was pretty cool to have everything fit. And then also because my very first piece of drywall that I put up had a little complicated aspect to it, which is that we run into this angled wall here. So the fact that it fit perfectly was a major accomplishment for me. And if you look across, I did have to cut the piece of drywall to fit perfectly in there. You can't tell by looking at it, but the fact that it fits right into that corner and that this outlet fits, that's like a major accomplishment for me, so I'm feeling very good about that. The other thing that I had a problem with was trying to get these screws in, and all the YouTube videos I watched were very confident people, mostly men, who had been doing this for years. And they're like, yeah, you just, you screw it right in there with your drill. And first of all, I never use a drill. So now I'm much better at using a drill, which I'm not demonstrating for you simply because that's way too loud. But if we look down along my drywall here, it's pretty funny because I made a lot of mistakes. I had trouble hitting the stud. The stud is that piece of wood behind the drywall that you're trying to anchor into, right? And so you can tell that, well, maybe you can tell, sorry, this video is very choppy. This is, I did not have my iPad, so we're using this today. You can tell that I made a lot of mistakes and kind of had to start over. I missed the stud several times, but eventually I got it all in there. So clearly the work of a novice, but I'm pretty excited that this worked out. Still have more work to do. As you can tell, the rest of the room has to be drywalled. I did do the ceiling. That up there. You can see up there. Oops. You can see it up there. I did the ceiling. So I'm going to continue today, but that gives you kind of a sense of what I've accomplished during this project, and it's really just more of the same. And then I have to learn how to mud and do all that business, but that's the next step of the project. So it's amazing how long it took just to get to this one little piece of the project, but I got it, and I'm feeling really good about it. And yesterday I was feeling pretty powerful with my drill, which seems kind of silly, but it is what it is.